Good afternoon. Welcome to the Gaunt podcast. Is Starmer too weak to copy Trump on immigration? What am I talking about? Let me explain to you if I can. I'm sure you're going to get wound up about this story. I'm John Gaunt. It's the Gaunt podcast. Today, we're diving straight into what is going to be one of the most controversial questions in British and indeed American, even world politics. In the United States, the tragic murder of a young female National Guardsman. Remember, in Washington, D.C. the other day, 2 of them got shot while the woman has now died. And the person who's committed this terrible crime allegedly is an Afghan migrant. So that's triggered a political earthquake led by the president of the States, Donald Trump, who has responded with a dramatic suspension of all immigration from what he calls third world countries. Already politically correct woke idiots in the UN are saying, you can't call them third world. Okay, we won't. We'll call them, shall we, certain countries. But I think we know the countries he's talking about. Now, love him or loathe him, he has taken firm, decisive action. Could you ever see Keir Starmer doing something like that? Well, could you? After the rapes we've had in this country, the sexual assaults, the murders, all carried out by, not all, but a lot of them carried out by the flip-flop warriors, the people who have come into our country illegally and then decided, like, for example, in Warsaw, to stab that lady 19 times in the head and in the chest, or the dog walker who got stabbed to death just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, again, by an Afghan. So here's the question that we can no longer dodge. Should Keir Starmer do the same? Now, look, we're all realists. We know he won't because he's weak. He's totally weak. But you, the British public, do you want him to do this? Is this what our politicians should be doing? So what's happened is, in the States, Donald Trump has hit pause on all immigration until he gets control. I'll read it for you from the BBC website. Yahoo! US President Donald Trump has threatened to escalate his crackdown on immigration, pledging to permanently pause migration to the States from all third world countries as he hit out against what he calls his country's refugee burden. But we know the countries that he's talking about. He's had enough. I'm asking you, have you had enough here? And I know we've got American listeners and American watchers. What is the atmosphere like in Washington and in the rest of the states? But the countries that he's not going to be happy about are Afghanistan, Cuba, Haiti, Iran, Somalia, sounding a bit familiar, and Venezuela. It's basically, he says, he's also going to end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens. So my question is this what you'd like to see happen here? And then on the BBC, they've got a terrible, sad picture of this young woman, a National Guard member called Sarah Beckstrom, who has been murdered by this piece of scum who many would argue should never have been in the States in the first place. Reminds you of things like Lee Rigby, reminds you of the recent murders and rapes. What about what happened in Nuneaton? I want your views. Should we pause all immigration? And you know, I believe in well-controlled immigration, managed immigration, but should we pause it? What a coincidence that there's a story today that France are now going to turn back the small boats. What do I smell? I smell absolute bullshit. It's another diversionary tactic. Maybe not. Maybe the French will at last do something with the millions of pounds that we've given them. But I say you need a tough deterrent. I say army on the beach, navy in the channel. I've been saying this for ages. Every single person once the flip-flop hits the beach, deport them immediately or put them in secure ex-army camps. Don't allow them to walk in and out of town, etc., and get them out of the UK ASAP. Are you with me or against me? We've had horrific crimes committed by people who should never have been in our great country, and we've still got thousands crossing in small boats from France, and we've still got a government who's pretending everything is under control. Did you see the liar Starmer? Beth Rigby, who I've normally not got any time for on Sly News, she destroyed him last night, talking about his lies, talking about his U-turns, and he got aggressive. It's the first time I've seen him get chippy. What a pity he won't get chippy on our borders. No, he won't, will he? So I don't think he'll do this, but I want us to start bringing pressure. This is a proper grown-up conversation. You won't get it on the mainstream media. They're scared of their own shadow. But we have got to talk about it. Are you with me or are you against me? Get commenting now. If you've got an opinion, I want to hear it. Write your comments up in the box. Of course, this is an extra show. Make the most of it. Have you say? Can I say a big thank you to everybody who's loved yesterday's show? It was something different. If you've not yet listened to that or watched it, have a look at it when you finish listening to this show. Thank you very much indeed. Right, let's go through the details of this horrific situation and why Donald Trump has come to this position. And I just want you to know, I want to know, are you with Trump? So just put a comment in the box that says Trump or Starmer if you think Starmer's more pragmatic, weak-livered, lily-livered approach is the way. That's my bias, and I'm telling you how I feel. But I've had enough. I've had it up to here. How many more girls need to be raped? Why is Starmer allowed to play Russian roulette with our children? And he's deluded. He somehow thinks the budget was good. He thinks people are following him. He thinks we're on his side. We want him gone. He's the most unpopular prime minister on record. And did you see him get shirty with Beth Rigby? Right, let's go. Let's lay out the facts of what's happened in Washington, D.C., because that's what's lit this fuse. And this is going to be a subject that's going to be discussed around the globe, because already the United Nations are saying Donald Trump can't stop people coming to his country. Well, I think you're going to have to think about that again, United Nations in New York, because he's already cut illegal migration from the southern border by 95%. And it's, it's like us, we're saying we've got to get out the ECHR, we've got to do this, you've just got to have the political will to say this isn't carrying on anymore. We can't allow this. That doesn't mean that you're racist. It doesn't mean that you think everybody getting out of a small boat or everybody coming from a so-called Trump, quote, third world country is a criminal, a mugger, a rapist. Doesn't mean a murderer. Doesn't mean that at all. But as I keep saying, if you said to Starmer, look at that dinghy there, can you tell me the names of any one of them? He won't be able to. We've got to be able to test them, to know whether they've got any illnesses, to know if they've got a criminal record. We've allowed people into Britain via Dover who have got a criminal record longer than my arm, which, by the way, isn't very long. But you know what I'm saying. So let's talk about what happened in the States. It was an horrific murder. A migrant who many argue should never have been there. There's some discussion about did he work with the American troops or the CIA in Afghanistan. No doubt they'll play their mental health card. But the truth is, 2 of these people were shot down in cold blood. The president waited to see whether this girl died. She died overnight, holding her dad's hand. And at that point, there was no messing. There was no prevarication. Very different to what happens in our country. And whether you agree with Trump or not, he made a decision and he'll stand by that decision. And that decision to stop, or he calls it pause, immigration from certain countries is the catalyst for today's debate. And as I say, this will be a worldwide debate. Now, here in the UK, people are asking a very simple question, aren't they? If Donald Trump, leader of the free world, can act like this, why can't Keir Starmer? Well, let's look at the legal, political, and moral barriers that might stop him or force him to copy the American approach. I'll cut to the quick and tell you this. If we got out the ECHR, it would be easier, but he could do it anyway. It just needs political will. He needs to listen to the people, but instead, he uses our own tax dollars, our own money against us. Remember the Bell Hotel in Epping? It was clear it was a hotbed of criminality and sexual assaults. Wasn't just the one who, by the way, we decided we were going to deport, and then we let him out of prison, and then we had to give him money to go away. What a load of bullshit. Absolute weak government. So Starmer could do this. And we, in a way, have got to force him to do it. I'm saying get angry. We should copy the American, well, it's the Donald Trump approach. He got down illegal immigration by 95% on the southern border. He now says if you're from the Sudan or from Somalia, Pakistan, if you're from Afghanistan even, you ain't coming into the States. We're going to pause it. Well, I said this months ago. I remember on this very podcast, I said, we need to stop now. Don't allow anybody else into the UK until we know who we've got here. And if they say I'm not having a medical, or if they say I'm not telling you how old I am, or if they say they haven't got a passport, bye. Let's get back and send them to a Rwanda-style processing centre, Ascension Island, the Falklands, wherever. That would concentrate their minds. Just like getting rid of all the hotels, concentrate their minds. And we need to say to people, if you're going to come and live in our great country, of course you can keep your religion, your culture, but what you can't do is lead separate lives, even if you've come legally. We've got to get rid of the ghettos. We've got to get rid of leading separate lives. We're British. And being British is more than just a multiple choice questionnaire that they can fiddle, and it's more than just basically stealing a passport. Prove you're British. So, let's be honest. Before we even get to what Starmer could do, we need to face what's actually happening on our own shores. The small boat crossings. It's massive, the numbers now. Absolutely huge. 40-odd thousand. And we've returned with that one in, one out deal less than 1,000 or 100, isn't it? It's just a joke. I can't even remember the numbers. It's so farcical. Of course, at the moment, it's not so busy because the weather's bad. But once there's a break in the weather, then they'll come again. We've got a failure of processing, which, if we're being fair to Starmer, we've got to say that started with Boris and the Tories. They built up this backlog. They put them in the hotels, the so-called Boris wave. Well, I'm telling you, enough's enough. Boot them out. Put them in tents, insecure old army sites, but stop this softly approach. The cost of living crisis. We can't afford anything. And then they're taxing us again. And then Starmer, the liar, said, we need to increase some taxes so we can pay for our NHS. What if we weren't bloody the World Health Service of of the world if we weren't treating every Tom, Dick, and Harry who just manages to get here in a dinghy. Maybe there'd be more money for Brits. I've had enough. I'm coming to your comments in a moment. So, would a temporary immigration freeze make Britain safer? I think it would. Or, some people say, no, that's just political theatre. Well, no, it isn't, because if we suddenly said no one is coming to Britain, no one, and if you do turn up, we're going to send you to the Falklands or Essential Island, wherever it is, we're going to put you under lock and key, I think the numbers would drop. We've then got to deal with what we've got in this country, which, as I've just said, is not just Labour, it's also what the Tories did. What is your view? Would you like Starmer, and I know this is Fantasy Island, would you like him to be more like Trump? What do you think about already the human rights idiots, the woke idiots in the UN are already bleating, this is racist. Even he used the term third world. I don't particularly like that term anymore. There's no need for it, but it's not racist. Let me just ask you a few questions, then I'm coming straight to your comments, I promise you. Because these are questions you've got to consider. Should a single horrific crime be enough to change immigration policy? My answer is yes. Do you believe Starmer has the courage to take decisive action on our borders? No. If we can't secure our borders, should we pause immigration until we can? Yes. If the UK's problem, with illegal migration, is it also a problem with legal migration? Is it both? Yes. Would a freeze actually work, or would it just be a political stunt? Well, how the bloody hell do we know until we try it? Should Britain prioritise national security over so-called international asylum obligations? Yes. Put British people first. And where does Reform UK and Nigel Farage fit into all of this? Starmer hasn't got the bottle to do it, has he? What's your view? Right, let's go to some of these comments now. By the way, if you like what I've just said, please press the like button. If you want to share the feed to other people, please do that, the stream. If you want to donate a few bob, just press that $sign and send me a few quid. Or alternatively, go to www.buymeacoffee.com. This is the John Gaunt Show. This is the John Gaunt Podcast. You won't hear this anywhere else. I want your views. Let's start then. I wish we had a leader like Trump, says Triple Sod 3760. Don't we all think that, I think. Hi, John. Hope you and your family are well. I totally agree with you about Starmer. He is one of the weakest prime ministers I've ever known in my life. He certainly is. Here's one of our American listeners. This is Dale C. McKay Godwin. I love our president, Donald J. Trump. At least you've got a leader, Dale. Look on the bright side. What's this one? Doreen Heffernan, I asked you, Trump or Starmer? You can just write the word Trump if you want, or the word Starmer if you are mentally deluded like him. And that'll just give us a flavour of what you're all thinking. Doreen says Trump. Jason Brace says Trump 100%. And Dale, the American listener, she says BS to the UN. Yeah, I know. I can't wait for that conversation when Donald decides I'll come back to the UN. Do you remember when he went there last time, Dale? They stitched him up. They made him, and they could have seriously injured the First Lady when they turned off the, escalator, as he and his wife were going up. Disgraceful. Then there was a problem with his microphone and the translations, so most of the leaders didn't hear what the president, the leader of the free world, had to say. I wouldn't mind, but the UN and NATO and the rest of those jerks, they need American money, because anything they want to do, including what they're trying to do with Zelensky against Putin, they've got to have America on side. I don't blame President Trump for saying, well, you're going to pay your way from now on. Why should somebody in the Midwest of America pay to protect Europe when you're not contributing enough? I'm with Trump on that one. And I'm certainly with Trump on this immigration thing. I don't think it's nasty. I don't think it's uncivilized. What I think is uncivilized is that somebody would go into the United States and start killing personnel. That's what I think is wrong. And it's the same in this country. Look at Lee Rigby. Look, the list is massive. The Afghan who's just admitted that he did rape the 12-year-old in Nuneaton. The whole list of these things. Why are we allowing our leaders to do nothing, to do jack all? Jackie Ward, Starmer should definitely copy Trump and suspend immigration, but it will never happen because Starmer doesn't want it to happen. Jackie, we talked about this the other day. You are absolutely right. I used to think it was because they were useless. They were idiots. They didn't know what they were doing. But that's not the case, is it? It isn't just some mad liberal thought process. They actually, it would appear to me, are trying to destroy this great nation and its people. Whether it's Ed Miliband with his green nonsense. Have you seen him? He looks like he's gone mental. He needs locking up. That's if we had any prison places left. Where are we going next? Jason Brace pledged to build a UK Guantanamo Bay camp for all illegal, undocumented entrants, somewhere off the Shetland Islands. Call it Shetamo Bay. Very funny. No comforts, cold, bleak, basic, with no ECHR. Rewrite the ECHR into the UK CHR. I've been saying that for ages. We need our own sort of Bill of Rights. I think you're being a bit too cruel to them. So, but that's your view, and you're welcome to it. Take out all the tripe that prevents us from doing what's necessary, John, to rid us of the third world immigrants. Employ Trump-style ICE agents to round them up and ship them out. Remove legal aid for anyone arriving without documentation or via an illegal entrance. Remove all known appeal clauses. Jason's not messing. He's got an avatar, if you're not watching it on YouTube or Facebook, of Winston Churchill. So it's quite clear where he's coming from. Do you agree with him? Let me have your views. Trump has got it bang on. In just 5 words, Craig Marston sums it up. Thank you. Christine Cooper, she uses 4 words to sum it up. Starmer has no guts. I agree with you, Christine. Listen, if this is the first time you've seen my show, my name's John Gaunt. I'm normally here every night of the week, well, Monday to Thursday at 6:30 live, although I'm moving it back to 6. I normally do a show on Sunday. I do extra shows when something's got my goat, which is what I'm doing today, because this is Friday, isn't it? And thank you for all the compliments about yesterday's show, talking about Christmas and talking about where have we lost ourselves. Wait till you listen. I'm doing an extra show tomorrow about Black Friday. What a flipping con that is. The biggest con in the world. It's just basically an advertising stunt, as far as I can see, for Amazon. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Jansen says, God bless Donald Trump. I'd only wish he'd put the likes of Starmer on the spot during live interviews with him. Well, do you know what? I agree with you about that, because it always annoys me. You always think, oh, Trump's going to do Starmer this time. And then he goes, oh, he's doing a really good job. I know he's playing a long ball game and he's got the art of the deal and the rest of it. I'd just love to see the president tear into Starmer. I would. Dale says, John, did you know that the shooter that shot the National Guard drove across the country to kill her? Yeah, I was listening to that on the telly this afternoon just before I came up here to do the show. It's a disgusting, foul crime. Foul. At least you've got the death penalty, though, haven't you? We haven't. When Lee Rigby got decapitated in the street, one of our soldiers, they've just gone to prison. It's like the Hotel California in there, in a British prison. You Yanks have got it right. Sorry for calling you Yanks, but you know what I mean. Trump every time, says Christian Cooper. and Farage is our best bet. Well, why do you think we've had all these stories about Russia and about Farage and about what he said when he was it 11? No, 13. It's just nonsense. They're scared stiff of him. Reform won another massive by-election last night, council election. He is going to be the next prime minister, despite what they're trying to do. And you know why? Because he's talking the language of ordinary people and he's listening to our concerns. Starmer just lies. He opens his mouth and he lies. I know all politicians are full of BS. I know that. But has there ever been anyone like Starmer? And if you've not watched the interview on Sky News with Beth Rigby and him, it's 5 minutes long. I did put it up on my Twitter feed and on my Facebook. You've got to watch it. He's so rattled. I said on the budget day he looked poorly. Well, she beat him up. She tore him a new one, and he deserves it. He is trying to wreck our country. Oh, and that's the latest thing, isn't it? They're now going to have surveillance drones if you've got a big house or an electric car. Do you see that? They came out with the electric car thing, 3p a mile. Then somebody says, well, how are you going to charge that then? How's that going to work? They hadn't even thought about it. They are just a bunch of sixth formers in charge. They are clowns. He's got to go. Are you with me or against me? Jake Morton Brown, afternoon, Sir Gaunt, I like it. Our PM will never listen to us. We've been making our opinions clear for over a year and haven't made an act in our best interest. Shame those tractors didn't spray muck on them Houses of Parliament the other day. Jake, don't get me started. I thought it was absolutely... Hang on a minute. What's this, man? Wait a minute. Your buffering is bad. It's not me. I'm on a gigabit internet. Well, I'm afraid it is you because I think you actually apologise in a moment. Yeah, they are further down. All good now. It's you, not me, my friend. And it's so many people want to watch. The Feral Gamer 91. Starmer hasn't got a backbone as the foundation to build strength upon. You are absolutely correct. What did I want to say there? Jake Morton Brown was just saying he hasn't listened to us. What a pity the tractors didn't basically spread shit all over the house. I agree. And what was the Metropolitan Police doing? When did the police become politicised? Why were they arresting farmers? Why did they tell the farmers the night before, no, you can't bring your tractors to London to protest? You can't. I thought being able to protest was one of the fundamental parts, along with withdrawing our labour, of being a British citizen. Oh, no, not in Starmer's world. In Starmer's world, he can stop you, and he used the police. Did you see ordinary farmers not doing anything wrong? Well, driving a tractor. A good job the Wurzels didn't come down. They'd be doing a 10-year stretch, wouldn't they? He actually had the police handcuff farmers, the salt of the earth, the people who provide our food. He's handcuffing them. Just like Southport, when Axel Rudicabana slaughtered 3 little girls. Who did he lock up straight away? And who did he not tell the truth about? He didn't tell the truth about Cabana. He basically condemned everybody as far-right thugs. He put Lucy Connolly in prison for 31 months for words. That's what Starmer is. And that's where he's dangerous, because he's not only a coward without a spine, he's also a bully. And yesterday, when Beth Rigby did him, he didn't like it. Because it is that old adage. If you're ever getting bullied, pick on the chief bully first and they will normally crumble. And that's what happened with Starmer. And then I see today, the so-called Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel from Accounts. Looks like she hasn't been telling the truth about the state of our economy. It's just terrible what is happening in this country. Charity begins at home, says Dale. You are correct. Augusta Moore says, John, you're becoming a bore. Bore off. No, August Moore. Why don't you bore off? I'll tell you what, I'll even help you if you want. Would you like me to ban you? I don't need to listen to you. There you are, off your trot. Let's move on. Why would you do that? Why would you think? I always say this. Dave Lee Travis, when he took over the Radio 1 breakfast show, I hated him. I ended up knowing him, working with him a bit. I didn't like him then either. But I would just not listen to the radio. Well, this is an internet show. You have to come and find it. So, August Moore, if you think I'm a bore, bye. Luckily, there's millions of people or thousands of people who actually like it. Oh, I must just say that, by the way. We're now over 6,000 subscribers. We're trying to get to 10,000 minimum. And also, we've got over 1.9 million plays of the videos. I want to thank you for doing that. I also want to thank everybody who's contributed a bit of money. Please feel free to do it again. All you do is click the $ and donate whatever you can afford, or go to www.buymeacoffee.com. Remember, we do get a trickle of advertising money, not enough to make it keep going. We still need you to help out. So if you value what we're doing or what I'm doing, please contribute. This one, user moving Ian. Starmer lacks testosterone to be like Trump. Yeah, well, he certainly hasn't got any bollocks. Trump is a leader. Starmer is a jellyfish, says Tony Hodkinson. Who's this one? Mark Lockwood, 8386. I wish we had a Trump. Yes, that seems to be what most people are saying. And Dean says Trump 100%. Jake Morton Brown's answering that guy who told me I was a bore and to bore off. He says, you're not being forced to watch, are you? Thank you, Jake, for your support. It's idiots, Jake. He's so conditioned to the propaganda of the BBC, he thinks he's paying for it. He thinks I'm answerable to him. I'm answerable to no one. Well, it's not true, actually. I'm answerable to Lisa, my wife. She scares the hell out of me. Jason Bunch says they're devolving the West. You are correct. Hi, John. I'm 100% Trump. Starmer's not even commented on the deaths of Wayne Broadhurst. Of course, Wayne Broadhurst being the chap who got murdered by that. That was an Afghan, wasn't it? He got murdered walking his dog. He was the dustbin man. And the lady from Warsaw, yeah, I've forgotten her name at the moment. I'll get it back in a minute. Starmer is totally the weakest link. I like your name, Get Carter 1970 on YouTube. What a great film that is. Thank you very much indeed. I think we can safely say that he's a poor excuse for a man. Forget about being a man. He's a poor excuse for a human being if we're talking about Starmer. How does he cling on? That's the question, isn't it? Have you met anybody who thinks he's doing a good job? He won't do what Trump does. He won't do it. And what's going to be funny now is the whole world, the coalition of the willing, or as I call it, the coalition of the flipping useless, are all going to gang up on Trump and say he's a savage, he's a barbarian, he's undemocratic. No, he's putting his people first. He's trying to, it's a cliche, but he's trying to make America great again. Couldn't we do with a couple of politicians like that in this country? We need a Trump, says Ewan Simmons, 6967. Thank you for your comments. James R.C. Irvin is another one of our Americans. Hello from the USA. Starmer reminds me of these desperados on the Libby left. Libby left. I like that. I do like that. Thank you, James. You've got a real leader. He's got a lot of faults, Trump. You know, I'm not going to say Trump's fantastic. He's this, he's that. There's lots about him. But he certainly puts America and the American people first, which is what you want. John, I think methane comes out of Starmer's mouth when he talks. Yeah, actually, we should get Ed Miliband to look after it. Oh, there we are. It wasn't me, by the way. Ha, 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 says user. Let's all blame YouTube. Oh, he's the one who's moaning about the buffering because he's got super duper internet. It can't possibly be him. Listen, mate, I don't want to get into a row with you about it. Fair enough if you don't think it was your internet. The fact that nobody else has mentioned the buffering, but we'll move on. Be part of the family. Grow some balls, says Lee Hindley on YouTube. Not me. He's not too good to me. Oh, I hope he's not. Grow some balls, Starmer. Do what Trump has done. Ban the lot from coming. Yeah, you see, because he's not saying this is forever, and nor am I, by the way. But if just think this through logically, just bear with me for a minute. Excuse me. If you've had rapes and murders and violent crime, we had it before with these people even turned up. I accept that. But why would you let undocumented men, and I've got to say, mostly men of fighting age, just to arrive in Dover? Why would you do that if you loved your country? You wouldn't. You wouldn't care what the UN or the EU says or what some bewigged buffoon says in court, would you? You'd put the safety of your people first. But you see, that's gone. It's like the police. They don't tell you if a suspect isn't white straight away. This is what happened in the Ruda Cabana case. There was gossip. There was an information vacuum. And before you complain, this isn't Gaunty saying this. Starmer's own czar for terrorism, the main man, and another top expert, John Carlisle, I've interviewed him loads of times. They both said, if you leave a vacuum of information, other people will fill it. And that's what happened with Ruda Cabana. People started saying, the person who's done this has just come into the country. He's an illegal. Now, that was based on bitter experience of what happened. Starmer knew on the very day it happened that this lad was from Rwanda. He knew he wasn't a Welsh choir boy. So why did he put out that bullshit, that spin? And then when 2 days later he came and laid a wreath and then did a Usain Bolt impression as he ran back to his armoured car when middle-aged, working-class, Liverpudlian women started shouting out, "Wanker!" He's a coward. He's a coward. And then the riots happened. I'm not condoning the riots. Of course I'm not. But what I'm saying is, you leave a vacuum, that's what happens. And he's never had the humility to admit he was wrong. He's never apologized. That's the kind of leader we've got. Like when Mohammed Zayed Zafir Youssef got Rupert Lowe handcuffed. I don't know what that's on about, but you have to come back to me on that one. Cut, freeze, reduce, limit, one in, one out. All those buzzwords mean to us is mass immigration will continue at a rate of 50,000 plus a year. As I always say, Mark, I've got no problem with well-controlled, managed immigration, but we haven't had that for years. Not for years. Angel, regular listener and watcher. By the way, is anybody going to contribute any money to my shows? I'm doing extra shows for you, and you're not even donating. It's a bit naughty, isn't it? It's the end of the month. Surely you've just got paid. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Come on. Chuck a fiver in the hat, please. The Afghans were being flown out of Pakistan a few months ago for being troublesome. Guess who flew them out? The Brits. And they're still bringing them over in the dead of the night as we speak. That's a very, very good point. We have brought them. We were told they were all Afghan interpreters who had worked for us. It's clearly not the truth. And you're right. They are coming in under darkness and they are taking over army barracks. That's on top of the flip-flop warriors who are coming in the dingers. I don't know what else to say, Angel. You're right. It's terrible. The only thing Starmer's any good at? No. Don't say that, KG. You see, because I have to read these out. The first time I see what you said is as I'm reading it. So don't make unsubstantiated claims. No matter what you think you know, you don't know about any kind of misdemeanors, please. That's why they're also pushing no jury trials, says Jason Brace. You're absolutely right. When you tie together this surveillance. It's all over the TV today. The charging you per mile. When you think about EULAs, when you think about no jury trials, when you think about the police being basically militarized and politicized, scary times. It's really, really scary times. Are you with me? Or are you against me? The UK government have all been left-wing Trotskyites since 1957 when they forced us into joining the EU, says Mark Devon. Not sure I'd go that far, Mark, but I thank you for your comments. I could deploy a fraction of her forces to see every single incoming boat. Literally. Subscriptions for any government. Where do I apply for the tender? Thank you very much. That's DWet Martins 359. That's a new one, I think. Lily Livered Starmer says Rick Doggibola 1312. Where do you get these names from? Why don't you just use your own names? Anyway, where are we going next? John, that's fantastic news about your numbers of subscribers. Yes, it is, Craig. As I was just saying, subscribers are over 6,000. We started with nothing, so we've done that in a few months. And the amount of plays is now over 1.9 million. I think we'll hit 2 million in the next few days. I'm really hoping so. So if you've got friends who have never listened, never seen it, never watched, can you tell them to watch? And that's another reason why I want you, the most important thing you can do is to go to YouTube, John Gaunt TV, and subscribe. A little pop-up comes up. It says, do you want to subscribe? Don't worry, that doesn't mean any money. You don't have to pay. But it just means then every time I do one, a video or a podcast, you get notified. Not only that, it also means you can look at all the archives, all the ones I've created already. And there's some brilliant ones in there. Some brilliant ones. I'm particularly proud of what I did yesterday. I did something completely different, off the cuff, just talking about my mum, talking about my childhood, talking about what Britain has become compared to what it was. It wasn't a rant. It went on for nearly an hour. People have loved it. And thousands of downloads for it. So thank you very much for that. But wait till you hear tomorrow's. I'm going to really enjoy myself tomorrow. Talking about, what's it called? Black Friday, whatever it's called. Technically is paying. ISP is not. Oh, shut up, mate. You're getting on my nerves. Starmer is just a puppet, so don't believe anyone who would do different. It's all part of Fabian's plan. I'm more and more coming round to that way of thinking myself, Denise Tilbrook Bennett on Facebook. Thank you for your comments. Have a great weekend. We need to, Chris Young 9653, we need to stop immigration, but Trump's immigration policy has divided the country to levels that may start a civil war. Why copy Trump when our issues on immigration are so different from America's? Are they? People who have no right to be in the country getting in? I don't think they're so different at all. You sure you're not swallowing the BBC propaganda? But, you know, maybe you're right and I'm wrong. I don't know. Carol Owen, exactly. The whole world sees Starmer for what he is, the weakest link. I'm 75 and never, ever have I seen a man more hated and a party more hated than him. Thank you very much. Jason Brace, can I just tell you something? If you want to write things about Starmer, which are defamatory, feel free, but do it on your own thread. Don't come on here. Don't come on here and do it, because I don't want to lose my livelihood because of the idiotic things you're saying. I might even agree with them. I wouldn't be saying them at the moment. So I've just deleted your comment. Please play by the rules. You do have to have some. John, do you think we need to be stricter on Asylum? We all know he will not stop the border force Uber. That's a nice one. Picking up the flip-flop boys. Well, of course we do, but it ain't going to happen, is it? Where are we going next? Denise Tilbrook, the illegals have flown to the dinghies. It's all planned. I'm not sure if that's true, but I understand where your panic about that is coming from. Because why don't we stop it? Why don't we just stop it? It could be stopped tomorrow. Complaining about donations is how all channels die and shows your motivation is money. Oh, here we go. That comment will hurt the channel, bro. Well, I'll tell you what will hurt the channel. Divs like you. Don't call me bro. Don't talk to me in that, I'm jive talking. I'm a kid, right? I'm gammon. I'm old. I don't need your shit, Chris Young 9653. And you're only reacting like that because I just put you down about another comment you made. I can't remember what it was now. I disagreed with you about Trump. If you can't cope with a bit of disagreement, go and listen to James O'Brien. But don't start telling me about channels dying. Channels die when people like you take it for nothing and don't actually feel you should contribute. You're holier than thou, aren't you? You sure you're not in Starmer's Labour Party? Why is it very profitable to sell old seed phrases through the Seed 4KI project? I don't know what planet you're on. I haven't got a clue what that is about. So, but thank you very much indeed. Mockingbird is telling me the real men are dealing with the boat. So you mean the guys who got over to France and are slashing them? No, it's not the answer either. But thank you for your comments. If you want to believe that, that's fine. Right, I've run out of time. I got myself in a bad mood there with that last bro. What? Bro, dude. There's a whole load of words like he's passed on. No, he died, right? Where are these phrases coming from? Wait till I do my show tomorrow about Black Friday or whatever. Was it called Black Friday? Where they put the prices of everything up and then reduce them for one day. And everyone thinks they've got a bargain. And meanwhile, the high street dies. Not for me, thanks. Thanks very much. Oh, here we go. He's crying like a little bitch, this guy, Chris Young 9653. You never put down on my comments. You said you didn't know enough to comment. So please don't try to put me down and lie about the statement you've just made. Well, I actually said I was being polite to you. You said we're nothing like Trump. Why copy Trump? And I said, have you swallowed the BBC propaganda? Chris, relax. It's just entertainment, love. What do you do for a living? Grow up. If you don't want to be part of my show, that's fine. I've got thousands of people who do. Go away. Or, alternatively, have a different view, but be a grown-up about it. And don't start calling me bro or dude or telling me not to ask for donations. I asked for donations because I got no money to keep the bloody thing going. No doubt you'd like me to work for nothing. I'll go to the workhouse if you want. Jackie Ward, 3 red hearts. Thanks to Jackie. And Chris Young, would you like to replay it? No. Bye-bye, loser. Anyway, thank you very much. Sorry I lost my rag a bit at the end. I can't bear people who think they're so superior. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, some point tomorrow. It won't be in the afternoon because some Coventry City are playing, of course. I'll be watching that. But I will be back. And I'm going to talk about Black Friday. I got wound up about that this morning as well. Thanks to everyone who has donated. Chris Young, that's very, very nice of you. If you'd like to donate, that's great. Please click the little dollar sign or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Let's have the last word to Chris Young, crying like a little bitch. Didn't think so. Laugh out loud. Because he asked, would I replay it? And I said, no. Do you think you're watching the BBC? I owe you nothing. But thank you for joining in today and upping my numbers. That's all good news. Make sure you repeat it. Thank you. Right, I'm off. I'll see you tomorrow then. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss. Give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. And please tell everybody about the show. And make sure you join John Gaunt TV on YouTube. See you later.